Today, I'm going to talk about 3 tips to help you be confident whenever unexpected trauma comes up inside your hypnosis and even coaching client sessions. So, these 3 things are really important for any hypnotherapist to have. The better equipped you are with these 3 things, the safer it is for your clients. And obviously, it will save you a lot of grief, a lot of stress, and a lot of unnecessary headaches. And so, the first thing that you want to ensure, especially if you are trained in regression and use regression practices, which means you take your clients to memories from their childhood, then you absolutely need an ab reaction protocol. If you don't have that, then go back to your hypnosis school and ask them for it. This is the thing. I went to a hypnosis school where we did have to do regression, but we did not have an ab reaction protocol, which is insane to me because that was a crazy expensive course that I paid for, but didn't really supply the basics. So that would be the first thing that you want. Ask your student support or whoever it is that you're trained by to see what they would do when an ab reaction occurs, which is really an intense reaction to the hypnosis. This is very, very, very rare. This is not an emotional client. This is a very, very bad reaction to the hypnosis. But either way, you want to have that first. That's why in the hypnotic questioning, course, this is included, even though we do not do regression. Why? Because safety is important. So definitely address that first with your school to make sure that you know what to do when these really intense ab reactions happen. The second thing that you want is you want to make sure you yourself are in a regulated state before, during, and after your sessions. Definitely before and during. And what do I mean by this? This is not just about having some incense and making sure that you sage the place before you go into your session, making sure you have your crystals. That's not it. That is just a very, very small piece of the puzzle. You want to make sure that you, in your body, you're regulated before the session, during, and after. If you don't know how to regulate yourself during the session, make sure that you comment below regulation during client sessions to have a quick training to help you learn how to do that. But truly, what you want to do is to ensure that you have a practice in place to ensure that your stress levels are managed during. Do you have to be absolutely all bubbles and rainbows and unicorns during your session? No, that's not necessary. It's more of creating that stable space because your client is going to co-regulate with you whether you know it or not. This happens unconsciously. Co-regulation happens unconsciously. So when your client is coming into your session and they can sense that you've been stressed out, you're overly tired, you are not really present and paying attention to them, that can cause them to not be fully open, not want to share things with you, not build rapport because, well, if my therapist is really stressed out, why the hell would I trust them? Right? Makes total sense. So, what are your self regulation practices that you can do that you can adapt very, very quickly? The regulation practice that you will receive here is like a 10-second breathwork practice. So, definitely make sure that if you don't have that in place, to ask for that training. Again, comment below. Regulation during client session to make sure you have that training in your belt so you know what to do. But definitely, definitely make sure that you know how to do that because mirror neurons are a thing. If you yourself are getting stressed out, you're putting pressure on yourself, you're overthinking during the sessions, which are signs that you are dysregulated. Your client can sense that and they can either resist, not open up, or become way too emotional. We don't know, depends on the person, the context, the circumstances. But especially when your client is revealing a lot of traumatic things, if you yourself are being triggered because your own shit is coming up, that is a disaster waiting to happen, right? I mean, we've all been there. We can learn, but of course, you want to be equipped because you want to prevent that shit from happening. That's just not a good client experience. And number three, if you are doing regression type events, this is going to go against everything you've learned. And really, when a spontaneous regression happens in our hypnotic questioning sessions, I actually ask my students to never, ever, ever go into the deepest details of the event itself. A client does not need to relive or review that experience for them to heal from it. That is fact, because we have helped so many clients without them reliving that memory or reviewing that memory. Many people have been re-traumatized using regression, unfortunately, because the hypnotherapist didn't know what to do with the details. So if you're newer, this is not to scare you. This is to set you up and your clients for safety. If you're finding that it is a potentially traumatic memory, just support your clients emotionally. You don't have to dig into the details of who, when, where, how, who it is, how old they are they inside or outside. You don't need any of that shit to help your clients. You just need to support them with regards to the emotions that come up. So again, this is something that if you were trained in regression on, is going to be very, very difficult to wrap your head around. But again, you do not need it. We have done it so many times in our hypnotic questioning sessions. You do not need to go deep into the memories because that can potentially negatively affect your clients after they leave. Their mind can replay that scene over and over and over again. Your client might ruminate that over and over and over again, especially if you haven't tested and made sure that that memory has decreased its saliency. And so avoid that shit. Please do not re-traumatize your clients. If it happens spontaneously, and that is what you regressed, then make sure that you have the abreaction protocol. Make sure that you have been taught how to help with really deep emotions and avoid the details of the event. So I hope these three things help. To summarize, in order for you to be confident in unexpected trauma sessions, you need to know what to do if worse comes to worse, because then when it does happen, you are prepared and you know what to do. Number two, make sure that you yourself, your stress levels are regulated, because then you can easily bring your client back to regulation because you have calmed down yourself, and you can set the pace of the session for safety. And number three, if a really bad traumatic memory does come up, avoid going into the gory details of who, what actually happened and like the details of the event, but instead focus on the emotions that came up afterwards instead of the gory details of what happened, and help them shift the emotions and the beliefs instead of talking about the memory. That can help you to prevent abreactions from occurring, and that can actually prevent that event from coming up in the future, haunting that client over and over, which really makes it worse. It re-traumatizes the client after, which is unfucking necessary. So I hope these three things help. Let me know if you have any questions or comments at all. Otherwise, I will see you soon. Let's make a massive impact together, one conversation and question at a time.